Hi, I'm Kenny Klaus, and this is State 48 Homeowner.
Hey everybody, we're here with one of our star agents, Angela McInnes. Welcome, Angela.
Thanks, Scott. Great to be here to talk about this.
So how long have you been doing real estate?
Over 10 years now,
Okay,
full time.
So we've got over 20 years experience between the two of us and tons of crazy stories.
Yes, over that time span, we definitely get to hear a lot, see a lot, and experience a lot with our clients. Right?
And sometimes our clients have experiences that, we've seen it with other agents' clients on our listings. We've seen it with our folks, and we just wanted to kind of give people an opportunity to learn what not to do.
That, I think, is the most important.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what you should do, but let's learn about what not to do.
Yeah. So here are the top 10 mistakes that new homeowners make. We've seen them all.
Yes. And I think the great part about this list is not so much of us witnessing it. It's that phone call after the client has moved in, or maybe you're doing that 1 week or 1 month checkup just to see how things are going. And that's when you hear about, oh, darn it, I forgot, or should I have done this? And so we've learned it over the years.
And some of these things are things that we don't often see our clients making these mistakes, just because they're just, some of these things are on here because people go, oh, I'm glad you told me.
Right.
So the first one, it comes around, usually around April, sometimes in March. We get these frantic calls from people saying, hey, I'm filing my taxes. I need this form or this form or this form.
Right.
And so the number 10, not keeping your paperwork in a safe place.
It's real easy when you're moving into a new home. You're not sure where to keep everything, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's all new space. So oftentimes it's that important paperwork that gets put in such an important place that you forget where it is.
Now, one of the big ones that you'll actually need is the final settlement statement.
Correct.
And that's something that we at the Klaus team we're going to send to all of our clients at the end of the year. And so you'll get it from us even if you didn't keep it safe. But there's other documents that you probably are going to need that we may not have, stuff related to your loan documents and things like that. And so when you finish up, you're going to get a big file from the title company. Sometimes they'll give it to you digitally. Sometimes they'll give it to you in a big pile of paper. And you're just going to want to keep that in a safe place.
Right.
And
have it handy for that January 31st to April 15th.
Yeah, that period of time. Now, another one, it comes into play when you've got these things.
Yes.
And I can tell you, it makes sense for me. I did check it beforehand, but number 9, not checking your cell phone coverage inside the home.
Yes, very important, because let's face it, all the cell phone companies can claim that they have great service everywhere, yet there may be voided areas within the home that may not get the same service, and that might become your office if you're working from home. So it's really important to check that and do that sooner than later.
Now, my property, I live in Gilbert, South Gilbert, and I back to the Santans, which is an Indian reservation for miles and miles and miles.
Yes.
There are no cell towers south of my house.
Okay.
And so we knew going in, I figured it out when we were looking at the property, I'm not getting any decent cell coverage here. And so there are workarounds to that. We use Wi-Fi calling. And so all
smart.
of our phones are set, and we make sure that AT&T included that in our plans, that you can do Wi-Fi calling. So our phones work phenomenally, but when I have company over, then we got to make sure that
that they understand.
Their phones,
right.
But now with 5G coming in, they're bringing those towers into the neighborhood, so it makes a big difference. But yeah, you do want to check the cell phone coverage.
Absolutely.
You want to give us number 8?
Yes. This one is really important because there's a lot of emotion when you're buying your house. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's your first house, your third, your 10th. You're excited. There's a lot of excitement going on. And if you plan on doing any repainting or renovations, number 8, forgetting to take before and after photos.
Yeah, especially if you're a TikToker or an Instagrammer. Yes. or what's that other one? The Pinterest.
Pinterest. Oh, yeah. Yes.
and you want to share all that stuff, and you want to, if you're going to do a video on it, make sure you just take those before pictures. One great way to get the before pictures is off the listing.
Right. We as agents have access to all of those photos. Even once the house is closed, we can still access those and provide them.
The problem is if your project is doing something to, let's say, your master closet, or maybe the interior of your garage, sometimes those pictures are not included because.
Correct.
And I'll just give some insider stuff. When we take a picture of a closet, it's just a picture of somebody else's clothes. Not everybody wants to see that.
Yes. Yeah, it's not
so
necessarily my style.
You'll often see that you'll look through a listing and you won't see a picture of the closet. Well, that's why. In the garage, same thing. When people are getting ready to move, their garage might be full of boxes at that point. So if you're doing something to a room that maybe you don't have all the angles you want, just go and take some quick pictures. It could just be with your camera phone. And good to go.
And also during pictures, the before, during, and after, so we got to remember that during part as well. I know from experience, we've done some projects in our master bathroom as well as a walk area that we turned into a backpack drop station. Well, we didn't realize we didn't have any before pictures, and then we didn't have any during, and yet it was fulfilling to know we accomplished this, right? We recreated something. So learning from our own mistakes, right? What not to do.
Another big mistake is not measuring before buying the furniture.
Yes, this actually happened to a client of mine. They're just celebrating, their first year anniversary, and I, went down to see how the 1 year was doing, and, commented on how nice their large sectional in their living room, and they said, "Yeah, that was a really expensive mistake. We didn't measure, and we bought all the pieces, and then we couldn't return a piece, and so it was." They said that. I wish I could have measured before buying.
Yeah, and I remember when I was buying my current home, we were going through the final walkthrough, and I wanted to make sure my son's bed fit in his room and how we're going to lay it out. And the seller had like a nephew or something staying and was just passed out asleep in that room. I didn't care. I just went and measured around him because I wasn't going to make that mistake.
Right. Now, I mean, during consultations, I will ask a client, do you have any unusually large or, obscure sized pieces, maybe an oversized dining room table or a grand piano, right? Or a gun safe even. And I'll ask that. It's usually after the homeowner has bought, though, that they forget to measure.
Now, there's another thing we want to measure too. So this is number 6. This comes up a lot.
Yes, it does.
Not measuring the garage for oversized vehicles. Now, this is not just length, folks.
No.
This is height too. And we're in Arizona. We have trucks. I'm a truck owner, and I had a truck when I moved into this house. I've went and got a different truck in the meantime, and I went to the dealership with the tape measure.
Well,
because I wanted to make sure the truck fit, and we want to make sure it fits with room to spare. So how much room do you need to get around the truck from the driver's side to the access door to the house? How much room do you need? You want to add that into the truck. But the top of the truck we want to pay attention to as well. We want to make sure that we've got the garage door up when we're measuring, and we're measuring the entrance to the garage as well. And keep in mind that if we've got a big slant to the driveway, that's going to come into play as well. That
entering
might,
into the garage.
If you're real close, that may be a little bit too close if you're coming in at a steep angle.
As well as, thinking about the style of car you have. Because if you have a 2-door, they tend to have larger doors. So, the opening space, even on the side. And if your garage has the nice, neat storage cabinets already built in, you might want to think about that as well before, just going out and buying the car, is making sure you got space on the side.
Yeah,
as
and
well,
if you're planning to make those changes to your garage too, to bring in some storage space, make sure you understand that's going to come into play.
It's going to take up some space.
All right, so number 5, feeling like we need to furnish the whole house at once.
Yes. This is, again, we go back to, it's a lot of emotion going on when you're buying the house. And once you buy it, there's excitement, right? There's, I want to do this in this room and I want to do this. All of a sudden, I've got to buy everything. I got to go shopping, because a lot of people want to make it their home, right? When they're in the buying process, it belongs to somebody else.
Yeah.
After they've painted and done some renovations and they're moving in, they're quick and they want to make, moving in and put all their own
your
furniture.
Your friends will understand.
Yes.
When it's a housewarming party, your friends will understand that it's not a finished painting. That right. We just moved in. This is what it is now, and I've found too that having projects out in the future is it makes the house a lot more homey to know we have projects. A house I owned before in Chandler, it was just there was a weird layout of the house downstairs, and there wasn't much that you could do about it. And that was always one of the worst things about the house, is that there wasn't really any projects that I knew that I could do down the road.
Sure.
And so when you're coming into the house and you're like, we could do this, stagger some of those out in the future, so you've got something to look forward to, something to work for.
As well as, really kind of piggybacking on what you said, is really defining, what do I want this space to be, right? Versus just flooding it with furniture or that. It's okay, like you said, to come in and sit on lawn chairs instead of, couches for a little while to figure that out.
So Angela, we've helped a lot of people buy new homes.
Yes.
And this comes into play for both resale and new homes, but always, not all the time for resale, but always for new homes. Number 4, not budgeting for things like curtains and garden hoses.
Oh, you'd be surprised at, everybody talks about furnishing the house, and, they have plates, or they have all these, bedding and so forth. And then you start bringing up, okay, well, it's fantastic. You have, a water spigot right here, so your hose can be neatly stored. Oh, yeah, I got to get a garden hose, So yeah, it's forgetting to budget for a lot of those pieces on new construction, because they don't come with houses.
Yeah,
a lot of
window
things like that.
Window coverings is a big part of that. So not only curtains, but blinds and things
Shutters,
like that.
Or
you don't want to be the one person in the neighborhood with foil on the windows.
No, and that's it. And when you're budgeting for curtains and, like you said, blinds or shutters, you really have to take inventory of the house and say, okay, how many windows am I really taking care of, and do I want it to be all the same? Because sometimes you can buy in multiple pieces and get a discount, and if you're not planning on doing, say, plantation shutters throughout the entire house, that might save you some money too. Yeah. So keeping in mind, there are ways to keep less expensive without having to, have a huge budget for window coverings.
For people buying resale, there may be draperies throughout the house that just don't match any of your furniture or anything like that. And so even if it is coming with the draperies, it's something that you're going to need to look at changing at some point. This video is brought to you by Klaus Team Real Estate Solutions. The Klaus Team is different. With the Klaus Team, you have someone on your side. Where you live and make memories is important. We have more unique strategies than anyone else to help you accomplish what matters most to you. We can help you with traditional real estate as well as other options such as our lease purchase programs. We can help you buy first then sell, and we can bring you instant offers. We're here to help our neighbors achieve the American dream and help them build wealth through home ownership. For more info or to start your home search, visit us online at klausteam.com.
Now we're down to the top three.
The top 3.
Yeah, these are big ones, so we definitely want to take note of these. Number 3 is something we do at the Klaus Team. We do a friendly reminder several days before closing, yet because of all the excitement, sometimes it's overlooked, right? And number 3 is forgetting to turn on utilities, especially gas and sewer. And gas, somebody has to be at the property when they go to turn it on. So if you have a busy schedule, or maybe you're relocating from out of town, you have to take that into consideration.
And sewer is an interesting thing, especially here in Arizona, because if you are in a city, oftentimes that's all going to be in one fell swoop. In the town of Gilbert, we have water, trash, and sewer is through the town of Gilbert.
Right.
But if you're buying in, let's say, Santan Valley, you may have some services from the town of Queen Creek. You may have some services from Rural Metro Fire Department. You may have some services from a water company and different stuff with a sewer company. So, some of that stuff often can get overlooked, and you want to make sure you get it all taken care of all in one fell swoop. So,
in addition to trash.
Yes.
Because I know, the city of Mesa, the town of Gilbert, they all include that. There are some areas in Santan Valley and Queen Creek that use a private trash company.
Yeah.
And what do we have a lot of when we're first moving in is a lot of trash and recycle. So it's remembering to set up trash and recycle as well.
Yeah, and that's something unique about Arizona, too. If you're new to Arizona and you're listening to the podcast, we don't have county fire departments in Arizona. It was something shocking to me when I moved from California is, what do you mean? I have to pay a fire company, a private fire company, a subscription? If you're in a city, you have city services. If you're outside of that, then there's going to be a contract with Rural Metro that is basically it's another utility.
Right. If you want your house covered from a fire. And that's, one of the great things that you relocated from California, I relocated from Michigan. So the great part is that what we learned to pass it on to our clients, that it's new to Arizona.
Now, for number 2, this one is big. Could be number 1, honestly.
Right. This was a tough one when we were putting the list together. Which one is number 1, which is number 2. This was a really, really tough one.
And for us, it's one thing. If a lender was doing this, it would be number 1.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
So, and people don't think about this as being an issue. So number 2, and this one's really big. Buying furniture before you close.
Or appliances.
Or
a car or boat.
Yeah. So what this comes into play, so it's not really about the size of the furniture. It's not really about the look of the furniture or anything like that. The reason that we don't want to do this beforehand is most people are going to take advantage of those great financing opportunities at the furniture store.
Right, especially around the holidays when they're, 0% financing for this holiday or for that holiday.
Or they could just pay in cash. Either one of those could be a problem with actually closing on the home. We have seen people that have lost out on the opportunity to purchase a house because during closing they took on additional credit or they spent more cash than they should have.
Right. The lender can still ask for a last-minute bank statement. It occurred for a client of mine about 7 years ago. They had taken advantage. It was right around 4th of July, and there was, incredible appliance sales, and they needed to get a refrigerator and washer and dryer, and they had the cash in the bank, yet due to their tight ratios for getting into the house, they actually had to return those and put the money back in the account before we could actually close on the house. And they didn't think anything of it because it was cash.
Yeah. Some loan programs, you are going to need to keep reserves. A lot of times what we'll see is people will have an idea of how much money they have in and what they need for a down payment and closing costs and those kinds of things. And then they spend too much and aren't able to pay those closing costs and the down payment when it comes time to close. The other aspect, most buyers that are out there that are financed, especially first-time home buyers, when the lender says this is what you qualify for, they're going to buy towards the top of that qualification. It's just how people tend to be.
Right.
They like that a little bit more house. The problem is when we then, if they're buying at the top of their qualifications and they bring on new credit, that may kick them out of being able to qualify for that because you got that pre-qualification. That was based on you having
what you had,
the obligations that you already had. Now you're going to bring on more obligations. you're no longer going to qualify for that loan program at that price, and all of a sudden now we're not able to close on this house, and it's tough. And so we always want to remind people, hey, we're now in the sprint. We've got under contract, you love this house, and now we're going to close here in about 30 to 45 days. From now until then, we're not taking any more credit. We're not using credit cards. We're not, even if it's an existing credit card and you go buy that furniture, that could be a problem. So don't use the credit cards. And even, if it's cash, just hold on, wait. And then the day after you close, run over to the store and make the deal. Doesn't mean that we can't go furniture shopping. That's completely different. The thing that we just want to be adamant about, though, because furniture people can be a little bit pushy sometimes.
Oh, right.
Car dealers can be a little bit pushy. So if you're window shopping, just make sure you can come in and say, hey, I appreciate it. I can't make this purchase.
Tell them you're buying a house.
I'm buying a house. I can't make a purchase. I know you want to make it. Give me your business card. I will use you. Don't worry about it. But we're going to come in next week to make this purchase.
And I've had clients give me a call and just ask, I have to buy a birthday present for my son. Can I do this? And it's funny, but you're constantly reminding them, do not buy anything significant. Don't be spending money that you don't need to be. It goes with, again, taking, error out of the equation. So I've had them call even on the smallest of things.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
There are people that are adamant. I'm going to roll the dice. Yes,
sure.
There's most of the time it's okay, but we're saying that we've seen it enough that it's something that you just don't want to do.
Right. Lenders will appreciate that from us on this podcast.
All right. So what is our number one?
Number one, this is, it's comes out all the time. It's number one for a reason, and it's forgetting a change of address.
And it seems so simple, but
it does. And it's so easy too. I mean, simple and easy to accomplish. It's just a lot of the times the change of address goes beyond just your statements, or letting family and friends know. Forgetting to change it on your Amazon account, or if you order a lot from, a department store or something along those lines. I can't tell you, when we moved last, we had been in the house almost 7 years. And so we moved. I didn't even think to change it, and I would get calls from the agent representing the buyer of the house that I sold. We have a package here from White House Black Market, and it's like, oh, darn it, I forgot to change that, because everything is automated, right? Yeah. Everything comes up for you. It is the number one item that I share with clients is change your address on all subscriptions, on any of those sites that you have already preloaded.
Yeah. And you don't know the personality of the person that is buying or moving into the home that you're selling, or the rental that you're leaving if you're a first-time home buyer. And you don't know who the next person is going to be. And, most people are cordial enough that they'll hold on to something. Hopefully they'll have contact information to get a hold of you, but there's times that you just may think something's lost in the mail, and once you figure out that it's gone there, you find out that that person is kind of a jerk, and they've just thrown it away, or they've opened the box and have worn whatever you bought
right
from Kohl's. And so you want to make sure you change that and move, and it also helps to make sure that you are no longer the owner of record at the last place, and putting it forward and making sure that all the data that's out there sees that you are in the new place.
And there's a time within the post office that they'll automatically do the change of address. That will expire. So if you're used to getting holiday cards, or somebody hasn't sent you a holiday card in a year or 2 years, it very well could be missed. So making sure to get those, hey, I've moved, and send out to everybody you know. And now electronically and through email, it's so easy to get that communication out, just so you can keep those contacts and those family members
Well, thanks, Angela. If you want to get a hold of me or Angela and find out what opportunities you have in home ownership, you can reach out to us at 480-354-7344 or at klausteam.com. Thanks for spending time with us this week at State 48 Homeowner, the ins and outs of owning an Arizona home. You can connect with us for more information, submit topics you'd like us to discuss further, and you can see relevant videos, give us feedback, answer your real estate questions, and more at state48homeowner.com.